like ever since I started competing in like 2018, 2019, I was interested in like 5x5 just because I kind of thought it was more fun, like as opposed to sprint events. I think it was around like COVID time, maybe a little later, that I actually started to take it seriously. I remember I had one comp. It was like one of my first ones post COVID, and I was like the 7x7 podium is actually pretty doable. So I just practiced a lot, and kind of from there, it's just been like the main thing I practice. I just think overall big cubes are a lot more, um, I guess, just rewarding in that like practice. Like if you put in the practice, you'll get good times. Like you don't need to get good scramble luck or anything like that. Like you could
Mhm.
just compete, and it's not like one lockup could just cost everything.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I started taking it a lot more seriously around like 2023, and then everything since then's kind of just been like kind of just feels like the present. Like everything I've been doing has just been big cubes and modding and stuff like that. And yeah,
Okay. So when did you said 2019? So it's been like 5 or 6 years.
yeah, that was like when I first went to a comp.
Okay. So right now you're like globaling sub 2 on 7. What are you globaling on 6 right now?
I would say around like 125.
Okay.
I think big cube globals are kind of complicated because what I found for me is actually that like in comp I just get better results. At first I thought it was like just luck, but then I kept going to more and more comps and I would like check my global based on like my recent results and I would still consistently be faster than my global.
Mhm.
So I kind of feel like there's this thing for me where like in comp I'm like fully focused, like no like all I'm thinking about is like turning, looking ahead. So I kind of just get like my better results in comp. But yeah, I would say around like 125 and then like around like high, like 1 minute for 7x7.
Okay, yeah, I absolutely
I think
agree
I'm
that
definitely a lot stronger at 7, but yeah.
yeah, I totally agree that in comp you just perform so much better because on big cubes because you're totally
Hmm.
focused and all the adrenaline actually helps you solve better instead of the opposite with
Yeah.
sprint events. Okay, so 5 or 6 years of practicing. Now you're decidedly world class at 7 and you're like about there on 5 and 6. Um the other side of the stuff that you do in cubing is modding. So, do you remember like how you got started modding puzzles, messing with them, changing stuff?
Yeah. So I did a lot of like non-WCA mods. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with like Nathan Wilson or
Mhm.
like Trifoom or like all those people, but
I
I used to
remember,
do a lot
yeah.
of stuff like that. It's like kind of different from speed cubes, but it definitely kind of gave me like the foundation for like wanting to just work on cubes, even if it's like a different aspect. But I think it was around like 20 when the Maylong 7 came out. So I think 2023. Yeah. I got the cube because I was using the Alfu WRM and I
Mhm.
didn't really like it because it was just like slow and blocky. So I got that cube and I had high hopes because I heard that the 6x6 was all right. And sure enough, I got it and it was pretty good. There's just kind of issues with catching. So I wanted to improve it. And one of like the most well-known ways of improving reverse corner cutting is just by like rounding the pieces or like Florian modding. So that's kind of where it started. I originally just made it like for myself because I wanted it, but then I realized that there were actually people who would also want it. I like took it to a comp and like all my friends just wanted to use it for their rounds. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it started. From there, I kind of branched off into a lot of other cubes. Like I started doing Alshi WRMs. I think like to this day, the Alshi WRM's like the best cube that I've worked on just because I kind of like, I feel like I got everything with that cube like perfectly fine tuned and like people who tried it all consistently liked it. But yeah, those were, I think, the two major cubes for me that kind of like I felt really proud of what I've done and just feel like I've done a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, with the Maylong, like I have one of yours here. I
Hmm.
forget when I got this.
Yeah, I
It
think you were one
wasn't.
of the
I
first.
was one of the first. I was like one of the first 2 or
Yeah.
3. So this has the Florian mod, and then you also put
Hmm.
core magnets in, right?
Yeah.
And then was
So
there anything else? Like it doesn't have any of the Dorito cutouts in here.
yeah,
It's all still
that
filled
hasn't
in.
started yet. Hmm.
Okay.
Um,
Explain the Dorito mod. Like what is it? What's the point of it? And when did that start?
Basically, I don't know if I have any good examples, but basically it's just, you literally just take like these little like cutters and you just like cut off little triangles. That's why it's called the Dorito mod, because you're just, after you're done, you just have like a bunch of different colored triangle pieces of plastic, but you basically just cut those out. It reduces friction. It like reduces the weight a little, but it actually makes a huge difference. So in big cubes, there's often like layer imbalances. Like a lot of the new 6x6s just have like really slow inner layers. The Meilong 7 had really slow inner layers too.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, so it's pretty nice on those cubes because you could,
All right.
like, sure, you could set it up really well, but it's a lot easier in a case like that where it's just an issue with a ton of friction to just like make that little change, and it's just a lot better.
Might need to give that a shot. I have
Yeah.
I really like this cube, but the speed of the inners is the problem. And if that switches it, then this would be probably my main. Huh. Where do you think like the current 7x7 market is at? Like, what do you think of the different options that are available? What do you wish would change?
So I really like the 7 market just because we're finally at a point where there's a lot of options. I feel like at this point, most people are going to use the Alfu V5, which that's what I've been using. Um, there's also like the Warrior, which I think is a cube that people overlook a lot. Like a lot of people just think it's like a budget cube, but there are people getting really good times with it. Like I know Ziyu uses it, and he got like the +2 out of world record. So that's definitely a really good option. Um, I think most people would still use the Alpha V5, but there are a lot of options. Like for me, it's not like it's a pretty close pick where like I would use this cube, but I could see myself going back to like one of like the Warrior or something like that. Just like if it's a day where this cube just doesn't feel as good as usual. But
Yeah. Any mods or adjustments to either the Warrior or the Alfu?
the Warrior, I know there's a PyCube version which has core magnets and really weak springs. I haven't tried it, but I've heard it's pretty good. But I like to put core magnets in mine to help with stability a lot. One thing that does kind of annoy me about big cubes is like the 7x7s especially. I found that my old Alfu is just like super loose now. Like I haven't loosened it at all since setting it up, but it's like a good like quarter turn, like maybe half turn looser than when I got it. Because there's actually this issue with like the screws kind of digging into the center pieces. So if I took this apart, there would just be, yeah, like there would be like a little hole in the center because the screw actually just like drilled it down like a millimeter. So pretty much the only thing I do at this point is just add like a little piece of plastic so the plastic on plastic contact just doesn't damage the plastic as much. Other than that, I think these cubes are pretty good out of the box, and like you could reasonably just get it, set it up, and just use it.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I've got a PyCube Warrior on the way, and then the Cubicle has their LBL core for the Meilong, so that's on the way. And if it's promising, then I'll probably Dorito that one. And if I like the Dorito on that, then I'll also Dorito yours. Like I haven't found a 7. I tried Kate Graham's 7x7 like 3 weeks ago, and it was so much better than my Aufu. It was ridiculous. Like we have the same puzzle. Like we both have a stock Aufu triple track. Hers was just so much better. So I don't know if I just am super bad at setting up cubes or hers is broken in or something, but I'm still on the hunt for a 7x7 that I actually like.
Yeah, I know her Meilong 7x7 is also like really weird, like in comparison to the ones I use, just because hers is like so fast and light. And I don't really know what like she did differently to it, but
Yeah.
I think it definitely could just be top solvers just do like so many solves in their cubes that you just can't like replicate it with just like setup. You need the plastic to like break in the right way or something like that.
Yeah,
but
the plastic break-in, the way it felt to the touch, it had a different shine, even though it wasn't UV coated. Like a lot of it was just, I put in a few thousand solves in this 7x7.
Yeah.
It's like just casually. Man, okay. What about 6x6? You were one of the people that I know when the current Aoshi came out, you were kind of hesitant about it.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of hesitant about it. I just find that it pops a lot, which I find interesting because I know a lot of people say the WRM pops a lot. Like, I feel like I kind of have the opposite experience where a lot of people had issues with the WRM and they think the new one's like perfect, whereas I'm kind of like I feel like there's some issues, like the layers are uneven, it's kind of blocky. Like I just don't like it nearly as much, whereas the WRM was kind of just like the perfect cube for me. Lately, I've been not doing much 6x6 just because I have a lot of 7x7 rounds coming up, and I care a lot more about that at the moment. But I do kind of want to consider going back to the original WRM just because that was a pretty good cube for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely between those two. Like, I don't really think there's any arguments for any other cubes at top level. But yeah, I don't know. The V4 is just like something's a little off to me. It's just never really worked perfectly, except for when I just got it. But yeah.
Yeah, I've had the same popping issue where it's like it'll happen twice in an average of 100, and that's too much. Like those
Yeah.
little internal pops should happen like once in 1,000,
Yeah, always
not
those. Because
not
once those
every
happen
20 or
too, it's
30.
like, yeah, because like once those happen too, it's just all the other pieces could just fall out. It's scary.
Yeah.
Have you tried the Pi Cube one yet?
Yeah, that's what I'm maining right now. I am
Okay.
super impressed
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I got it like a week ago. I haven't had the time to set it up yet, but it does seem pretty promising. So I think that's going to be one of the things I try too when I go back to 6x6.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with it. Kate said that she would probably she tried mine and she said she thinks it would be her main as well. So it
Yeah.
seems promising. But I also haven't put a lot of time into 6. It's been 5 and 7. I don't have any 6 rounds coming up. Because all my results got DNF'd at my last competition, I don't have a qualifying average for NAC. So I don't even get to do 6 at NAC unless I manage to find a place that has a round between now and then. So
that sucks.
yeah, haven't been working on 6 much lately. So modding started with the Meilong and kind of took off from there. Talked a little about 6 and 7 hardware. What about 5x5? Have you tried the new Warrior?
Oh yeah, I actually have it. It's a really interesting cube. I think we aren't gonna see many top cubers using it. It's I don't know, like so the turning's really nice. Like it has just like a really nice plastic feel, and the overall turning is just kind of satisfying. Like it kind of reminds me of I don't know what, but like after I used like my main the Ouchong for a long time, it is just kind of refreshing to use a new cube. I just feel like there's some issues with like catching between turns that I just don't think that I could see many people mating it due to. I think 5x5 for the time being is going to be just like the Gan and the Ouchong.
Okay, gotcha. Which would you use between Gan and Ouchong, and why?
The Ouchong. I think the Gan's a lot more stable, but it requires you to have like accurate turning that could really complement it. Whereas the Ouchong kind of lets you be a little more aggressive, but then you just might not have as high of like a top speed. Like you might get more deformations and stuff like that. So I think it just kind of comes down to who you are. They're both really good cubes. I just think that it's going to be based on like the person. I've gotten pretty good times with both of them, but I just like the Ouchong a lot more for me.
Yeah, I'm similar, I think, but it's way closer than what you just described. Okay, so I have questions about methods. I have questions about who's good right now and who's up and coming. So, methods first. I still do not understand the theory behind why Yao might be better versus worse on 6x6 and 7x7. I know it's just like straight up less moves on 4x4. And on 5x5, it's near equivalent. But how do you make the decision between using Yao or reduction on 5, 6, and 7? And why have so many people switched recently?
I think really just ergonomics. I feel like I haven't used Redux enough to confidently say like what its shortcomings are. So I'm kind of just basing it off of what I think based on like other people's solves. But I think Yao, you're going to find that it's just a lot more easy to like get into like a nice flow while solving. Like you're never going to be looking for an edge and it's just like on the bottom of the cube, or like you're never going to like everything just feels a lot more structured, I guess. It's kind of like you're just never like there's just a lot less weird cases you could expect. So I think that for that reason, it's a lot easier to get into because like as somebody who struggles more with edges too than as opposed to centers, I think that it just makes like a lot of skill sets that people are more comfortable with easier, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so the main issue is just going to be like longer move count, longer solves. But in reality, a lot of those extra moves just comes from doing like a lot of weird L moves during centers to preserve the cross, which in my opinion, those don't count as much as extra moves. Like if you do like R wide, like that's technically 2 moves, but it's kind of faster than doing like RU or something like that. So I think you're basically trading like slightly longer solutions for just more ergonomics. And I think for a lot of people, that just makes it a lot nicer.
Yeah. What's the move count difference? Like on
I
Redux
don't
versus
actually know.
Yao? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I know people are kind of looking into it a bit more recently, but I feel like there's so many different ways people solve. Though you could ask two people and one would have like 100 moves more, even though they're both really good.
Who are
Um,
examples of people who have like refined solutions down to a really efficient level?
um, I know, I know Mark Zimmerman. He's one that comes to mind. He doesn't main Yao, but he does just do Yao sometimes for fun, and he has really good solutions. I don't really know off the top of my head who's good or not. I think a lot of people at the top level are more look ahead and turn focused, more so than solutions. I feel like there aren't that many people that come to mind who just have really good solutions and slow TPS. Um, but yeah, so I don't actually know the specifics on like the methods or like how much moves you're actually losing.
Okay. So Yao is just like it's easier to be structured with. It's easier physically to turn. So most top
Hmm.
people will go with it just for that reason. That's why I use it. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, oh, well, the move count difference is like, 10 moves to solve. So it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too if it's not actually as many moves as people think. I am kind of curious to figure out the actual numbers, but it's a little easier said than done just because of how much other randomness there is to the solve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Um, who is really up and coming as a big cube solver right now? Like, who are some of the people
Um,
where over the last year you're like, these people are probably going to be either cracking into top 25 or cracking into top 5 who are like already kind of in the top player conversation?
um, let's see. So I don't know of many people who are like coming from like a little higher, like lower in the rankings. But one person I think we could see a lot of good stuff from is Jack Pfeiffer. He's like pretty consistently been getting good results, but he also just has like a really good mindset when competing or something like that because he always just manages to get like some crazy result and then he'll just get like something even better at his next comp. And I just don't understand how he does it. Um, he's definitely someone that I wouldn't be surprised if he starts showing some really good times in comp. Like we're talking like top 10, like top 5, maybe. Um, yeah, so he's definitely a big one that comes to mind. There's not as much of like somebody we don't really know about, but I think I really want to see Do Kwang Kung get something good. Like I know he is like more than capable of getting world records and like a lot of the end by ends.
Yeah.
So he is like top like 3, I think, in some of them, but still I do really hope that he gets something really good. I feel like he just needs more rounds and eventually he'll just get something that like nobody's expecting, but that would be really cool to see.
Yeah. What do you think of Timofey's solving?
Um, I actually haven't watched Timofey solves that much. I think if I remember correctly, he does like cross on bottom, which I don't know if he stopped doing that. I just remember seeing some a while ago. Yeah, I haven't really watched his solves enough to say much about him though. He definitely seems like a really promising contender. He got I think a 146 mean and a 139 single at the comp this past weekend, so definitely wouldn't be surprised if he also starts getting good too. It's also interesting because he's a lot younger than a lot of big cube solvers.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if that'll be good just to have like so much more time to develop good habits. And it's also kind of funny watching like his hands were so small in comparison to the cubes he used to use. So
Yeah. Yeah. Who are some of the people who have improved really quickly at big cubes that you can think of? Like what's the standard, I guess, timeline for somebody getting into top player? And are there any people you can think of who've broken that timeline?
um I think Henry Lickner is definitely one that comes to mind. He I feel like looking at his profile, his progression looks pretty reasonable, but just like knowing his like cubing habits and knowing that he like his practice style and like how he just doesn't practice as much as a lot of other people around his speed probably would. He's definitely a really interesting one. I feel like a reasonable time would be maybe like 2 years from like starting to top player, assuming you have like decent fundamentals in 3x3. Um, yeah, I would say maybe like 2 years is standard.
Okay,
I think you could.
let's zoom in on that for a second. You said his practice times compared to what most top people would do. What are you thinking a normal top person would do or a top contender would practice on big cubes? And then what does Henry do?
Most. Most people, I think, just do a lot of solves, which is what I do too. And I think most people who are good, if you ask them, they would just say, like, yeah, I just do a lot of solves. Um, so some people just have crazy 7x7 sessions with like thousands, like even like tens of thousands of solves, which that's definitely a lot. Like no matter how you look at it, like if you just add up how long that would take, it would be like a ridiculous amount of time just solving. Henry, I think he does have a good amount of solves. He just doesn't do as many. Like I know one thing that I've noticed from him is as soon as he gets bad solves, he just stops cubing. Like he's just like, that's it for the day. And that's something I find interesting because there's, I think that could be beneficial. Like if you just start making dumb mistakes, you might start to get frustrated. Like maybe you're not gonna be focusing as much and you'll just get worse times because of that. And it'll just kind of add on to itself.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're reinforcing bad habits.
Okay. How many solves do you do like a week or a month?
Definitely depends on classes and how that's going. But when I'm practicing a lot, maybe like a couple hundred, I think my usual sessions are like 25 solves. So it just comes down to if I'm cubing every day or how often.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
find that, yeah.
that sounds about in line with like Mark told me he does like 207 solves a week approximately. So that sounds about right.
I do find his practice kind of interesting though, because I know he'll solve for like 6 hours a day. So I don't know if those like 200 solves all come from like one day and then that's it. But
Huh. He told me it was more like a couple hours a day. But maybe
okay.
if
Maybe it's
you
not that much.
if you add together 5, 6, and 7, it'll be a lot more.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow. Huh. Um what were some like are there any particular skills that you remember as you grew as a solver that were like especially difficult to learn? Or was it kind of just a steady progression all the way through once you got the fundamentals of big cubes down?
I would say one thing, like the main thing was actually just figuring out how to turn well in comp because I feel like big cubes could be really punishing with how you compete if you're not prepared mentally. Like I just had so many comps where like every turn would be like catching and I would just make stupid mistakes or like I would solve first two centers and it just wouldn't be solved. Um so I feel like a lot of stuff could happen like that if you're not prepared and that was for me what took the longest to improve at because I feel like my at home solves improved at a pretty steady rate. It's just that in comp, like it didn't really reflect it just because I had so many rounds where I was just making
Right.
mistakes.
Right. Hmm.
So I think what I found is when you're at like more like the intermediate level, it's most important to just be prepared. Like doing a lot of solve before comps isn't always the best idea, but I think for me that helped a lot because it just prevented me from making those mistakes. Like it just really made sure I was like locked in on like the big cube mindset and like wouldn't like all my centers would work and I would be turning well. And then the better I got, I found that it actually kind of became the opposite, which is that I should not practice as much. Like all of my best comps, I probably do like one cubing session leading up to it, like the week, maybe even 2 weeks before, because it's almost kind of like the opposite. Like if I cube too much, then I'll have really high expectations, and then that starts causing me to make more mistakes than I otherwise would.
Mhm.
Whereas when I don't cube, like because I've practiced so much more up until this point, like throughout my entire life, um, I won't like just make mistakes from not being warmed up. So I could kind of just like go on autopilot and just like the times will just happen naturally.
When you say adjusting to turning in comp, is there like some sort of like literal different hand motion or thing that you're like thinking as you turn? Or is that just like be prepared for nerves in general? I don't think I heard you say that just now.
I guess just being prepared for nerves in general. So one thing I do, like pretty much the only thing I think to myself, like while I'm competing, is just look ahead and don't pop, which just makes me turn better. Um, I think, well, in at home, I practice turning well too. Like I kind of make sure that if I turn the way I do at home in comp, like it'll be good. Um, then in comp, it's just harder because you have nerves. It just like your hands might be shaky or you might just be turning faster. So that's when I kind of just put like an emphasis on, um, like turning smoother by like not popping and just focusing on look ahead. And then that usually just works for me.
Yeah. If somebody's like on the newer side to big cubes, like they're not a complete beginner. They're like 430 on 7 or something like that, like they're getting close to making cutoff at competitions, what advice are you giving them? Like, watch Tuesday Tips, solve a lot. Um, but like, what would you tell somebody in those shoes?
I think the most important thing to do at that level, and also in my opinion, just the most fun, is just to solve a lot. Like, it's technically not the best advice because if you want to improve faster, you should really focus on like getting all the fundamentals right away. But if you just want to like break like the first barrier, like get better at the event in general, I think the most intuitive way and my favorite way is just to do solves. Like you'll just learn a lot from like seeing how the pieces interact with each other. And ultimately that'll just help you in the long run with making sure you just know how to find good solutions intuitively. Like obviously it's great if you just learn like the optimal like last bar cases or like certain L2E cases, but I just think that just doing solves is the best way to intuitively learn a lot of those things.
Hmm. And then what about for someone in my shoes where I'm like, sub 1, 2, 3, well, like almost. And it's like, okay, so just learning fundamentals isn't going to cut it anymore. Is the path forward basically solve consistently for the next 3 years? Or is there anything else to it than that?
Well, based on my experience, I would just say solve consistently. Um, but realistically, I would watch a lot of example solves just from people who have really good solutions and learn a lot from that. I find for myself personally, lately, what I've been focusing most on is just saving moves. Because if you think like, if the max I'm turning is like 4 TPS, if I could save like one move on like a certain thing that I do like 10 times, that could really add up throughout the solve. So I found that to help a lot. And the earlier you do that, the better it would be. Um, but ultimately, you are going to need to do a lot of solves to just drill everything. So I think consistent practice is like the ultimate, like
Yeah.
one thing you can't skip.
Okay. That's what I thought. Like, don't be stupid and then just solve a lot. Cool. Well, I can do that. I'll be here. I'll be solving. That's great. I have a few others, like side questions for you, but do you have any questions for me as we've been talking?
Okay, so this is something I've just been thinking about lately. Um, I don't know if you'll know the answer, but it's kind of up your alley, I think. So last summer, I had an internship, so I was working like 40 hours a week. And I actually found that the hardest part about keeping up with cubing competitively is the like mental, just like having like the mental power to cube. Like after working a lot, I would just be so like mentally tired that even though I had the time to cube, I would just like not be able to cube. Like I was just averaging like 10, 20 seconds slower.
Mhm.
So that's just something I find interesting as like somebody who's going into like graduating school soon and going to be working full time. Because I do really want to try to keep up with cubing and being able to get good results, but I just kind of wonder if there's any strategies to like avoid that. Because I know a lot of like older cubers definitely show like signs of not being able to like keep up with their old times as much.
Yeah, some of that is just a function of having less energy, like you said. Um, what you just asked is a question about energy management, not time management, because you said
Hmm.
I have the time to cube, but I don't have the energy. So what do I do there? Um, I mean, the variables you can change in what you just told me are you can get a job that is less energy draining, or you can switch when you cube so that you have more energy when you do it, or you can do something else in your life that adds energy back such that you have energy to cube when it's time to sit down. So like when I was in the peak of my like life grind in college, the solutions to that for me were one, do things earlier in the day because I'm a morning person. Like I would literally get up at 3 a.m. some days and do work that early in the morning because as soon as I wake up, I'd have 2 or 3 hours of infinite energy. And then I would start having
Hmm.
meetings or classes at 6:30 or 7. And then I would just have to go to my meetings. And I was okay if I was tired at class because I still got the information absorbed. So,
Hmm.
like, you can't do that every day. But the days I had stuff to do, like, switch the order so you have energy. Another thing is for me, working out is extremely energy positive. So, going to the gym and lifting weights, I get home and I'm just ready to, like, take on the world. So
Hmm.
strategically saving workouts for days when I'm feeling slow was really helpful for me. And that generally would give me like a few extra useful hours in a day. Um, so those are good. the biggest one, though, is just finding a way to eventually do work that you either see the point in or is energy positive. Doing an action that you dislike can be energy positive if you have a point to it. So I've done very sucky, hard things like lifting weights that I love because I know that after the thing is over, there's something good coming. So even though literally lifting weights drains my energy, it's still energy positive because I know that I'm doing it for a good reason. So you can get a job. Like I was talking to Maddie and he was like, yeah, I want to go into investment banking. He's going to have this insane grind of like 100-hour weeks. That will not be fun, but he knows what he's working toward, so it's worth it to him. So either get a job where even if the days are hard, even if the minutes are hard, the days are not because you know it's worth it, or get a job that you just enjoy. And if you can't do that yet, figure out what it is that you enjoy and then embrace the fact that it sucks now and work on getting skills so that you can get into that later. So like, it just kind of depends on your priorities. Do you care about cubing enough to do it when you have energy and have your job have less energy? Do you care about your job more? Is the job actually energy positive? A few different ways you can slice and dice it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of seems like it could apply to a lot more things than just cubing, but
Oh, for sure.
yeah, that is interesting too, because I find that when I'm at school, even though I am working pretty hard too, I do just like feel a lot more motivated in general. So yeah, I'll definitely have to consider that.
Yeah. Like figure out what about an environment gets you motivated. Oh, a spider just landed on my desk. That's interesting. Hello. All right, he's dead now. So figure out like, what motivates you, what gives you energy, and then figure out how to do more of that. So I'm thinking about this right now. I'm thinking about where can I move or what sort of social environments can I be in? And like I'm in a trying to decide what my next job/career move is. And as I'm thinking about all of it, it's like what jobs, what kind of people, what kind of career environments, what kind of physical locations will like give me more energy. Because like you said, time is generally not your bottleneck. It's ability to focus and have energy. I don't know the answer to any of this stuff yet. It's super personal. There's a reason most dudes our age are completely lost because we don't know the answers to any of it. But at least we roughly know what questions we're supposed to answer.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about for me. I feel like I have an idea, but I'll definitely have to figure that out and see as time goes.
Yeah, cool. That's a good question, though. A couple of other things that I was wondering about. Did you have any cubers that you like looked up to or you kind of like modeled yourself after?
I think two when I started like getting better. Well, one is just Henry Lickner because we've been pretty close for a while and he
Okay.
got good really fast. So I remember just watching him like podium at Nationals 23 and like be in finals, and that was just really exciting for me. So definitely gave me a lot of motivation to do well. I think another one is Lim Hung because he's just like so determined. Like he has like a crazy amount of 7x7 solves. Like it's
Yeah.
like the main
Yeah.
thing he does. He just like has a super interesting like solving style. Like his turning just looks so fast. So I think he's another one where I just like watch his solves and like see his results, and it just makes me want to like do more.
Cool. So both of them are kind of like more modern solvers. They're not like, some YouTuber from 2008, but that's great.
Oh yeah, I guess if we're kind of looking back in time a little more, then probably Kevin. Because he's just like one of the original big cube solvers. Like,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
like
yeah.
the original big cube solver when it comes to like online tutorials and stuff like that. And just, I even still get amazed watching his old solves. Like, I remember I think it was like a 114 from like a really long time ago. And I was just like, wow, like on 6x6, a 114. Just like, wow, like I could barely even do that now with modern hardware. And there he is just doing it with like the original Moyu Aoshi or something like that.
Yeah. And the last question I always ask everybody is what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy? And it can be anything. I've gotten really varied answers to this, but whatever it is for you.
I know most people would say the social aspect, and that's what I would say too. Like, I really don't think I'd have been cubing for as long as I have if it weren't for just like the people I go to comps with. Like, I remember when I was just starting, and like to me, the most important thing was just like doing well in comps and like going to comps. Like, if you asked me what my favorite comp would be, it would just be one where like something really fun happened or like I did really well. But like now looking back, so many of my favorite comps are just ones where it was just like a really fun day with friends. Um, where I got to meet a lot of people. So ultimately, I think that's the most valuable thing from cubing that I've gotten. But that being said, the like working harder and getting good results is definitely super rewarding too. Like I think both of those aspects together are what makes it how it is. Like just knowing I put in the work and then I get good results, it just feels really good, and it's something that I strive for in a lot of things. But one thing that like consistently happens with cubing